we as human beings are consuming fossil fuels at a rate that is completely depleting our ecosystems. Burning our planet's lifeblood will kill us all. And that's it. I mean, an inconvenient truth, that's what, 25 years old? World leaders have known about this for at least double that amount of time, and it seems to be some sort of strange, morbid race to the bottom. Like, the rich, instead of investing in what we need to do to save our planet, they're investing in a quicker death. They're investing in extracting as much as possible in some sort of maniac, psychopathic idea of being able to die last. None of us are gonna make it out if we don't radically shift. And that's the bottom line of the liberation movement. It's liberation or death. Like, how is this a reality? Destroying the ecosystem of this planet will destroy all complex life as we know it. And is there complex life beyond our knowing? I believe so, but what the fuck are we doing? Why would we even risk that? This beautiful gift that we've been given, why would we risk that? Because of trauma. Because these are people who are sick, and we are also sick in the mind, in our bodies, in our hearts, and in our soul. We have been sold to sickness that we didn't choose to buy, but we're forced to in order to live in our current societies. And so I want to be on this journey of healing this sickness, getting free from the swallowed prisons of belief systems and thought loops and anxieties and hatreds and prejudices and racism and patriarchy. And as the rich have seized power around the globe and are just driving us to the end line of being able to live on this planet, we're gonna see them ramp up their control from extraction to imprisonment, because it's a race to the end and it's not looking good. I'm Reverend Brianna Lynn, and I'm here to speak to you about the liberation movement. Alternative that asks, and what if we get it right? What if there's a different ending? What if what we're seeing now is just a bigger warning for us to unite and to choose liberation over oppression? We're seeing the ramp up of the master class and the slave class in the United States. You see it in the ICE raids. You see it in the engorgement of our prison systems. People who are going to lose their jobs to AI, people who are already losing their jobs to AI, people who are losing their jobs because of federal disbanding of essential services in our nation. We're going to see the ramping up of a homeless class and eventually of a slave class, because those homeless people will be incarcerated and those incarcerated people will be forced to work, as our incarceration system currently has. We currently have a slave system in the United States. It's never been abolished. And we're now at this crazy race to the end, and as we get closer and closer to the end, the corporations, the billionaires, these people who are sick in their minds, hearts, bodies, and souls, will be using the external systems of oppression to wring our necks so that we die first and they can say that they died last. What a strange legacy. And so the liberation movement is a spiritual movement that's based in action, a spiritual movement that has us each as individuals take responsibility for our mind, our bodies, our hearts, and our souls, and the systems that we're a part of. It's about breaking free. It's about going from the prison of the mind to escaping into possibility. It's about moving from the oppression of self, needing to dominate yourself or dominate others, and that oppression as fuel, into freedom. How do we create more freedom as inspiration, as ways of connecting? Existing on this planet, this punitive system has been operating for a long time, and the liberation movement asks us in our relationships how we can break free of this, how we can break free of this in our thoughts and the way that we speak to ourselves, how we can break free of this in our body and move into optimal health in accordance with nature, with natural law. And it goes into our soul, remembering that we are infinite beings in this experience. And any system that we create externally should promote that. This is a movement that has been around for thousands of years, and it is the pulse of life. It is the pulse of human life, it is the pulse of tree life, it is the pulse of all life for us to move towards expansion, freedom, growth, and then decay and composition. And that movement of life is what I invite you into to feel with me while we're in these videos and in this journey together, exploring liberation. What if we get it right? What if we can shift the world? What if we can shift our insides so that we don't have anxiety and drama and horror, and that murder doesn't happen anymore, and we actually have a place that's safe for our children? What if we get it right? And so much of this is based in needing to get in deep rapport, getting a relationship with the current reality. When we're free on the inside, we can't stand any oppression from the outside as well. And so much of what we're seeing on our planet right now, and why the liberation movement is being called forward in so many of us, is because there is an overt oppression happening. And it's not super pretty. It's horrifying. Granted, I'm so blessed and privileged to be in an incredible forest like this, but this forest is also under threat right now. Climate crisis. And when we stop politicizing what is happening and start looking and having a right relationship with reality, it will become very clear the need to center the conversation of climate change now. And until our liberation movement really drives that home, we can't do anything, because the next 5, 10, 20 years are going to be so insufferable. We need to start organizing now with the potential of getting it right, because this is really heavy. And so the liberation movement really focuses on what if we can do it right. And before I can speak on that, I just want to give you a little bit of the bad news. It's going to be a lot, just to give you a little bit of context so that I can give you the response, give you a little bit of the next steps of what we can do about this. Because I feel at these times, while we do need to name reality, we also need to be very solutions oriented. When we speak of the polycrisis and the horror that is happening and will continue to happen on a mass scale, and will continue to do so even when we make the changes that need to be made for quite some time. I want us to breathe and take it in. So the polycrisis is made up of genocides, ecocide, femicide, state-sanctioned homicide, and suicide. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them because they all affect our collective psyche and our planet. So the first are the genocides. Indigenous populations are being cut off from their land, wiped out, driven out, bombed out, starved out of their land. And in Palestine, we're seeing a full-on Holocaust, a trauma response from a group of people who are oppressed. And because their oppression wasn't healed and justice is not restored, what we see is groups of people in huge trauma that then take that trauma, hijack it in their system, and then in order to rewrite their narrative, will become the oppressor. In order to not be the oppressed, they will become the oppressor. And so that's what we see with the state of Israel and what's happening in Palestine, Free Palestine. In Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Congo, we see massive slavery specifically oriented towards mining, cobalt, lithium, copper, whatever is needed for AI and all of our technological devices. And every corporation is invested in slavery there. Every single one. There's not one technology corporation on our planet right now that's invested in non-slavery material. The ecocide that is upon us, the climate crisis. We're noticing weather changes all over the world, floods, drought. We're depleting our oceans, our coral reefs are bleaching, and the water is heating up. We're expecting about a 6-foot swell, 2-meter swell within the next 5 years. We're going to see the complete disappearance of places in the Caribbean, coastal waters, homes. Thousands of people will be instantly killed, and then we're going to see millions of people displaced within the next 5 years. So that's ecocide. And then you have femicide, rise of murder of women. The rise and disparity of women's rights around the world is insane. Anytime we see the control of nature and people, you see it directly come out on women. State-sanctioned homicide, ICE raids happening. We need to abolish ICE. There's no other way to say it. It's a Gestapo. It is a secret service that goes around and hides their identity and kidnaps people, many of whom who are here legally. In another conversation, we'll talk about how it's been here for a long time, specifically in the United States, but right now we're seeing the rise of overt fascism. And last, suicide, mental health. The mind, body, heart, soul connection right now is under great threat because so many people's physical lives are under threat and people know people who are under threat. We've gone through the bad stuff. Okay, there it is. Wait, before I go on to anything else, we've gone through the majority of the bad stuff. Again, I could keep going. But from that place, let's launch into solutions. And this, a little bit of this video, but definitely the upcoming videos are gonna be talking about different solutions, recommending authors, recommending actions to get involved locally, globally. I have a group online, a mystery school, where we're exploring that heart, mind, body systems connection and what that really means for our soul's journey. This crisis is going to affect us all, the polycrisis. If it hasn't already, it will affect us all, from fires to floods to the state arresting someone you know or arresting you. And we're at a time where we're at a crossroads of not choosing anything is choosing the path of oppression, is choosing the continual path of the same old, same old. And an active choice in a liberation movement has each one of us, myself included, step into the journey of freeing my mind, my body, my heart, my soul, and the systems. So that's what we're gonna explore in the upcoming videos, is what are the solutions to this polycrisis? And what if we get it right? What if we have the ability to visualize and create together the world that we know is possible? And it really is going to require a moving from our own pain into freedom, our own prisons into full freedom, our own trauma into our ability to work together again, because we've got to turn something around pretty quick. And so I invite you on this journey with me. We're going to talk about modern liberation movements, historical liberation movements, and also the liberation of the mind, body, heart, and soul. Different practices in these areas, different teachers, different teachings, different lineages, indigenous lineages from around the world that have spoke to this liberation movement as a spiritually connected practice to nature, each other, and our infinite self. I'm a student of this work with you. I'm a student of the liberation movement. And so I'm here as a guide to offer some insights, support with words and interaction, and being a drumbeat for this movement. I am a creature. I'm not a teacher of liberation in the sense that I'm here to liberate myself, and through that liberation, may I inspire you to do the same for yourself so that we can unite and liberate the external systems as well. And may we co-inspire in that. Bless.